Check, check. Yeah. Okay, so today I was just going to talk about Christmas and the holiday season, and it's coming up. So I've just never been a big Christmas guy, and I'm not sure why. I've always been kind of bah humbug, which sucks because, my kids are into it and my wife is into it, and I'm Mr. Grouchy Pants about it, and I don't want to be that, but I don't look, everything I want I could just buy. Even when I was young, I would buy just what I wanted. Even when I was like a teenager, even my own clothes I would buy, and I'd work from the things that I wanted. And I do like giving gifts, but I've always stressed about affording gifts and who gets gifts, because I have so many people in my life I would like to get gifts, and then I think I give about 15 different people get Christmas gifts a year. That's my family, my wife's family, my own, like my kids, my wife, my wife's brothers, and mom and dad, my brother, his wife. So I try to give, those are the people that get gifts, but it's always stressful for me to get all those and then have time for running my business, and then I try to make sure that I get things that people would want and not just buy random things, even though I know people like gift cards because they just do what they want. But it's always, it gives me all the stress. I'm like, this should be a fun holiday. I stress about the money, I stress about the time, I stress about wrapping gifts, which usually I ask my wife to take care of that, but it's always last minute thing, and I don't like last minute things give me so much anxiety. And it's crazy that Christmas gives me anxiety, and it should not. I don't feel like it should be that way. It should be a super happy time. I was raised So I'm going to talk about Christmas today, and it's the season, and how I think about it, how it affects me, and how I'm trying to think about it, how to change my views on it. I've never been a big Christmas guy. Even when I was a kid, I just wasn't super Christmas kid. First of all, I never believed in Santa, and my parents just didn't push that narrative ever. They would just put from mom and dad on the presents. We literally never played the game of Santa comes from the North Pole, and he knows everything. You're not naughty and nice, and all this stuff. No, presents came from mom and dad. We love you and we want to give you presents, which was cool, but it just never. That was never a thing for us, and I don't even know why. It wasn't like a religious thing. I don't think it's anti-Jesus or something like that. It was never that. Just. They never did it. I don't know. We had a Christmas tree. We had the lights. We maybe even had Santa ornaments and stuff. We had a manger. My mom always had a nice manger scene. But it just wasn't. That wasn't part of the thing. And my dad loved Christmas. We played Christmas music in the house, but Santa didn't exist. They didn't push that narrative of Santa. And I wanted to do that with my kids, and my wife was like, absolutely not. You're not going to take that from them. So, and I get it. You want to have the fun to believe in fantasy still, and not grow up so fast. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, really, honestly. But then there's a point where, like, you don't want your kids to be the last one to know that Santa's not real, and you don't want them to be the first one to know. And when I was a kid, I remember I knew there was no Santa, and I had these friends, and I was kind of a jerk. I was like, Santa's not real. And they would be like, they just wouldn't believe me. And why would they? Because I'm just another kid. Their parents, who you would trust, are telling them that Santa's real. So that's kind of weird too. Like, no, your parents are lying to you. But yeah, I don't know. I was like, man, that's just not real. And I don't know why I was so adamant. Like, I should have just let them believe, But it was a very strange thing as a kid, like, where all these kids believed it and I did it. And again, it wasn't like a religious thing at all. It was just like, no, we don't. Mom and Dad got you these, Dad worked hard for these, I guess. Probably, maybe that was the deal. I don't know. But, we went to church, and I'm not Catholic, so we didn't do, like, Mass or whatever, midnight Mass. But, the story of baby Jesus and all those type of things. But even when I was a kid, I always thought religiously, Christianity, resurrection was more important than the birth of Christ. Now, without the birth of Christ, there's no resurrection. I get that. But he didn't, he was just born. Like, and it was like, the story is pretty incredible. They're kind of almost refugees escaping, being killed. And, you have the wise men and the angels and all this stuff, and the manger scene, and all those things are really, great story. And but I just, even as a kid, I was always like, well, forgiveness is what the world needed, and that's what he did. Being born was more like the hope of, and for like the Jews were like, they were wanting, it was more a political thing. They wanted a king to free them from rule. The Jews were ruled multiple times, by Babylonians and what was it, later the Syrians, and then now the Romans. And so the Messiah was a promised thing. So I get that. But for modern times, and for the real gift of Christ was the understanding of forgiveness for me, and the sacrifice that he made. So even that was like less great for me. Like even as a kid, which is crazy, but I always thought, like, all the song, there's not a lot of Easter songs. They don't call it Easter songs. There's songs always about forgiveness and resurrection and stuff, but like Christmas has Christmas songs, and they were some of my favorite songs. Were actually Christian songs. These old songs from like the 1600s, 1700s. I mean, these are old songs. And we sung hymns, and I used to love them. But I think that was my favorite part of Christmas, was the singing. It's kind of weird. And lights, I like the lights. My brother was always into like helping my dad put the Christmas lights. I never got into that. I liked looking at them, but I didn't like untangling the wires. That was not fun for me. And the old school ones were like the thick bulbs, the big old bulbs. Now we all have LED lights or solar panel lights, which are awesome. They last forever. The bulbs don't go out, and like trying to fix all the bulbs. I remember them trying to replace bulbs and figure out which one's shortening it all out. And I get out. It's just was never like my thing. And now, and presents, like, I always was able to buy my own presents. So when I was a teenager, I would work, and I would save money, and I would just buy whatever I wanted. So there wasn't a lot of things I was like, oh, I hope I get this for Christmas, you know. I did like giving gifts, but even that stressed me out. Like, did I have enough money to buy my brother, my mom, and my dad a gift? That was a lot of money for me. And now I'm up to like 15 different people get gifts, and then how many gifts do I give my kids, you know, like, and then it's like, okay, like one year I got all these gifts, and I even wrapped them, and I was all proud of myself, and I put from mom and dad, which is what my parents used to do, because we didn't believe in Santa, and my wife was like, what's from Santa? And I was like, oh, crap. Like, I think I had to go late at night, and I went to like CVS or something, and they had toys there, and it all worked out. You know, she was so mad that like, why wouldn't you do that for Santa? I was like, oh crap, I'm not. I'm, and they were pretty young at the time, so I just wasn't used to the Santa thing. You know, so like, okay, how many does Santa get? And then now I'm like, okay, look, Santa gives one gift. If we want to give more, and our gift should be better than Santa's. That's still my thing. Like, we could still play the Santa thing, but like, the nice one should be from us, not from Santa. And so like, I don't know, every year I get stressed out about all the gifts and what to get people, and I try to get good gifts, and you know, I tend to go overboard with my wife, and I get her like a crazy ass gift, and then so I'm always stressed about the money, and then and what to get. 15 different gifts is a lot, you know, and generally I don't do anything until middle of December, you know, 2 weeks out. I'm like, okay, I gotta get 15 gifts in 2 weeks and figure out all that. And so it's just a financial deal for me. And then, you know, my gym, it's just not a good time for my gym. Like, people don't, I've never found that a lot of people join something new before the new year. You know, they're busy. Everyone's busy. You know, my son had a band concert, and so, you know, that's a night gone. I have students that are doing like plays, school plays, church plays. There's Christmas parties. There's work parties. There's I know it's weird with the pandemic, but people are starting to get back to that, you know. But so people are less in, or like parents have to like go shopping, so they just can't bring the kids in or whatever. And so like for jiu-jitsu, it's always been kind of a weird place that the classes are less people in class, and less people joining. Although I have had people join this month, but it's just less, you know. So people want to quit because they don't want to pay. They want to pay for gifts, and they don't want to pay for their classes. So that's always stressful, you know. I was like, you know, we have bills to pay. You can't just quit the month of, you know, yeah. So that's always stressful. And but man, every year I try to like, don't be so stressed out. But sometimes I feel like I'm carrying the weight of all that, of the financial burden of it all. And it should be like I'm happy to give gifts, which I am. But it always feels that way, like, oh man, I gotta get this, I gotta get that, I gotta get this, I gotta get this done. And this year, my in-laws are so badass, they bought us a week in Disneyland with hotel, and which is awesome. But that shortens the time to get gifts too, because I've shortened a week of getting stuff done. And then also for the end of the year, you know, I'm always doing all my business stuff at the end of the year. So you're trying to figure out your numbers, you're trying to figure out, you know, last year and the year before I redid my curriculum, I refilmed my curriculum, I put all my curriculum on the website. You know, it was a massive works I do every year. How can I make the school better, year in review type of stuff. And it's not like I have a team to do all that. I do all that. So, you know, trying to do that on top of the Christmas stuff. So it's like my work increases, you know, while I'm doing everything else. So And again, that should be exciting to see how you did and how you can do better, and then you should have hope for like the new year. So I feel like it's just my attitude. I need to work on my attitude of just like being thankful more. And the last thing I want to say is that I am thankful. I just realized this year that, which is stupid silly, that I've never not had family for Christmas. I've never, I know people that like, my family's always been in town. I've always lived near my family. I never went in the service and had to be stationed overseas by myself in some bunker somewhere in the Middle East or wherever, or on a ship somewhere. So I feel lucky because of that. And I want to continue that and be thankful that I've always had a family for Christmas, and that and yeah, I'm just thankful I've always had a family for Christmas. The most important thing is family. So, peace.